Hello, and welcome to this roundup of historical romance books with a romance between a lady and her brother's best friend. I'm Olivia, your favorite resource for book recommendations you can easily screenshot. You're watching Random Olive Reads. Scandalous Summer Nights by Anne Barton is book 3 of the Honeycoat series. We have our Duke's sister Olivia, who is a bit outspoken and brash, and she has had a crush on her brother's best friend James forever. But James is an all around good guy, never looking at his friend's sister in that way. Well, James is about to set sail for an expedition to Egypt and will be gone for 2 long years, so Olivia decides it's time to make her move. She kisses him at a ball, and while it's enjoyable, he kind of runs off. He comes to call the next day, and she thinks he's about to propose, but he doesn't. And so she's heartbroken, and then she gets the bright idea to follow the guy. It's actually a little bit cringy to watch her be overconfident in this one because this guy has not given any clue that he's interested in anything long term, but it's a romance novel, so you know it's all going to work out. Insatiable by Darcy Burke is book 8 of the Phoenix Club series. We get to see meddlesome and matchmaking club owner Lucian meet his match here. His friend's younger sister Kat has decided this is the season she will dedicate more research to the mating habits of people. Kat is bookish and socially awkward and gets overwhelmed by crowds easily, but is comfortable with and attracted to Lucian. So she asks him for assistance in her research, and he can only resist for so long because he finds her honesty and directness attractive. A Duke of Her Own by Lorraine Heath is book 1 of the Rogues and Roses series. At 26 years old, Louisa determines that she has no marital prospects as the impoverished sister of an earl, so she takes a job as a chaperone for American heiresses that need assistance navigating through society. Her brother and his two friends are terrible candidates for her charges, so she warns them away. Hawk is one of those determined friends who needs a wealthy duchess so that he can bring his secret and illegitimate younger sister into society. Knowing that Louisa's approval is necessary, Hawk sets out to soften Louisa's stance on his courtship of her charge. Of course, Hawk is distracted by Louisa herself and is more attracted to her than the woman he's supposed to be courting. All the Ways to Ruin a Rogue by Sophie Jordan is book 2 of the Debutante File series. Aurelia has been in love with her brother's best friend Max since first setting eyes on him at the age of 9. However, at the age of 15, she witnesses him having a tryst with a maid in the greenhouse and then brokenheartedly draws a caricature of him, which accidentally gets discovered and then sets him up for humiliation. From that day on, they've endured a bickering and spiteful relationship. We are many years later, with Aurelia having been uninterested in the social season or finding a match, until she realizes that she will be a burden on her newly married brother's household, and she tries to find a husband before she and her mother move to Scotland. Max is critical of all of Aurelia's suitors, even though he has no desire to marry her himself. Max has his own issues stemming from the death of his mother and sister and his father's subsequent suicide, and swears he will never fall in love and set himself up to be in such a vulnerable position. However, all those years of angry bickering has caught up to Max and Aurelia, who can't seem to keep their hands and mouths to themselves. The Good Girl's Guide to Rakes by Eva Lee is book 1 of the Last Chance Scoundrel series. After younger sons of an earl, Kieran and Finn assist their friend Dom in jolting their sister Willa at the altar, both families set down an ultimatum for these scoundrels. Each one needs to marry a respectable woman within 12 months, or they all get financially cut off. Kieran's book is here, the first book, followed by Finn and Dom later in the series. As a terrible scoundrel, Kieran doesn't have the best reputation among respectable ladies of the ton, so he needs some assistance gaining entry into polite events. He asks Dom's sister Celeste, the epitome of a proper young woman despite her upbringing, to help him get into the events so that he can find a suitable bride. She refuses at first, but when her father insists that she gets married at the end of the season, she decides to strike a bargain with Kieran. She'll help him if he helps her into scandalous places at night. Of course, in spending all this time together, they grow close and fall in love and really were already attracted to each other from the start. It was fun to see Kieran learn a different side to Celeste and appreciate the tough and brave person she is underneath all of the societal propriety she exhibits in the daytime. Love and Other Scandals by Caroline Linden is book one of the Scandalous series. Joan is the plump and tall daughter of a baronet who is practically a spinster and has an overbearing mother. While she is delivering a message to her brother to attend an upcoming ball, she encounters her brother's friend Tristan staying at her brother's lodgings. Although Tristan does not typically attend society events, he's intrigued and irritated by Joan, so he seeks her out at the next ball. Now, this ball ends up being pretty eventful for Joan and Tristan as he scandalizes her with his behavior, insults her, but also dances with her and kisses her. It's an amusing mix of actions here that leave Joan and Tristan totally confused about how they feel about each other. Joan's mother disapproves of Tristan due to his scandalous reputation and tries to get Joan to promise to avoid him in the future. However, as Joan's parents and brother need to leave town soon after that, Joan's brother asks Tristan to look after her and visit her. There's a slow buildup of real feelings between Tristan and Joan here, both getting over their initial reaction to the other. When the Viscount Wanted Me by Lydia Lloyd is book two of the Rake Chronicle series. Henrietta is a beautiful and sought-after debutante who has a tryst with a man she believes to be her friend, but is now being pushy about marriage. Trem overhears the man lamenting over Henrietta's rejection and suspects that he's trying to ruin Henrietta's reputation. Being Henrietta's brother's best friend, Trem tries to resolve the issue by questioning the lady. Turns out the pushy guy's accusations were true, and now Trem sees Henrietta in a new and attractive light. They pretty quickly start their own affair and end up engaged in the process. Henrietta has had a long-standing crush on Trem and is pleased that he desires her in return, but is keeping secrets about her parentage and worries over Trem's reaction. This book was high in the steam, quick on the getting together, and also high on external drama. Rogue Awakening by Kara Maxwell is book 4 of the Wicked Widows League series. Sylvia is recently out of mourning for her much older husband of a decade and is ready to join the Wicked Widows. She's at a ball looking for a gentleman to take to bed and settles on her younger brother's best friend Jasper, who's recently returned to England. Jasper has been in love with Sylvia for years and is hoping that this is the beginning of a courtship and marriage, but Sylvia doesn't want to give up her freedom. Now, this is a novella-length book, so it's a pretty quick read, and the conflict ultimately does get wrapped up in short order. How to Win a Wallflower by Samara Parrish is book 3 of the Rebels with a Cause series. We have our Duke's sister Charlotte, who is in her 4th season and uninterested in any suitors. She mostly spends her time helping her brother's political causes and charitable causes. Charlotte is the ultimate do-gooder and social butterfly. Also, she's not the wallflower in the story. No, that goes to our guy John, who is Charlotte's brother's friend, who has spent the past 10 years away from the London scene, working on various scientific inventions. He's back in town because his older brother died, leaving him as the new Viscount and in a whole lot of debt. John needs to figure out a way to pay off all these debts so he can go back to his very solitary lifestyle in a cabin in the woods. Charlotte has had a crush on John for years and years, so she decides to help him with his debt problem. They need to work closely together and they get closer, even though our dear brother Duke has already warned them away from the other person. We'll see how that actually turns out. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully you found a book or two to add to your TBR. Links to all of these books are in the description box. Like and subscribe to get updates, and you can follow me on Instagram at randomolive.